Captain Ben Torres stared out of his ship's window at the crystal world below. Vex Prime sparkled like a giant diamond against the black of space. Sharp towers of blue and green crystal reached up from the planet's surface like frozen lightning. Ben had never seen anything like it. "Captain, we're getting the landing coordinates now," said his pilot, Sam. "The Vex are directing us to the main palace complex." Ben nodded and checked his uniform one more time. This mission was different from anything he had done before. The Galactic Navy had sent him here for what they called special diplomatic work. Nobody had told him exactly what that meant. The Vex Empire was one of the most powerful forces in known space. Their insect-like warriors were famous for being nearly impossible to defeat in battle. They had never lost a war. They had never asked for help from anyone. That's what made this request so strange. 3 weeks ago, Queen Zara herself had contacted Earth's government. She wanted to meet with a human officer. Not just any officer, but specifically someone who had experience finding missing people. Ben's record of successful rescue missions had somehow reached the Vex throne. As their ship descended through Vex Prime's atmosphere, Ben could see the incredible engineering of the crystal cities. Everything was built with perfect mathematical precision. Straight lines, exact angles, and flawless symmetry everywhere. It looked like a computer had designed the entire world. "Landing in 30 seconds, Sam announced. Ben straightened his jacket and walked to the exit ramp. He had studied Vex culture for days, but reading about them was different from meeting them face to face. He hoped he wouldn't accidentally insult anyone. The ship touched down on a platform made of smooth white crystal. As the ramp lowered, Ben saw his first real Vex up close. The creature stood 8 feet tall with a sleek black shell covering its body. Its 4 arms moved with mechanical precision, and its large compound eyes reflected the crystal light in thousands of tiny rainbows. "I am Drone Commander Hex," the Vex said in perfect English. "Queen Zara waits for you." Ben followed Hex through corridors that seemed carved from single pieces of crystal. Everything glowed with soft internal light. Other Vex moved through the halls with purpose, never stopping to chat or look around. Their society was all about efficiency and order. They walked for what felt like miles through the palace. Ben noticed that every Vex they passed looked exactly like others of the same type. Worker drones all had identical builds. Warrior drones shared the same size and color. Only their markings were slightly different. Finally, they reached massive doors made of deep red crystal. Hex placed all 4 hands on different panels, and the doors swung open silently. The throne room took Ben's breath away. The ceiling stretched up hundreds of feet, supported by crystal pillars that sang softly when air moved past them. At the far end, on a throne that looked like it had been grown rather than built, sat Queen Zara. Ben had expected her to be impressive, and she was. Queen Zara stood nearly 10 feet tall with a golden shell that caught the light beautifully. Her compound eyes were larger than any other Vex Ben had seen, and crown-like spikes rose from her head. But something was wrong. As Ben got closer, he could see that the Queen's golden shell looked dull. Her posture seemed tired. Most shocking of all, her great compound eyes looked cloudy and unfocused. This was not the powerful ruler he had expected to meet. "Your Majesty," Ben said, stopping the proper distance from the throne and giving a respectful bow. Queen Zara's head turned toward him slowly. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of great sadness. "Captain Torres. You have come far to answer my call. I'm honored to be here, Your Majesty. How can I help you?" For a long moment, the Queen said nothing. Ben could hear the crystal pillars singing their soft song in the silence. Then Queen Zara rose from her throne and descended the steps toward him. Up close, Ben could see that this powerful being was struggling with something terrible. "What I am about to tell you," she said, "has never been shared with anyone outside our royal family. My advisors think I am making a mistake by trusting a human with this information." Ben waited patiently. He had learned that rushing people in pain never helped. 5 years, 2 months, and 16 days ago, Queen Zara continued, my 3 daughters left Vex Prime on a diplomatic mission. They were traveling to the Outer Rim worlds to negotiate new mining rights for our empire. The Queen moved to a crystal wall that suddenly became transparent. Through it, Ben could see images of 3 younger Vex. They looked similar to their mother but smaller, with different colored shells. One had a blue-green shell, one was silver, and the smallest had a shell that shifted between purple and gold. Princess Kiva, my eldest, Queen Zara said, pointing to the blue-green one. She has my gift for strategy and loves solving complex problems. Princess Nira, my middle daughter. The silver one. She is our greatest warrior, faster and stronger than any drone in our army. And Princess Vera, my youngest. The purple gold one. She has the gentlest heart in our family and studies the healing arts. Ben studied the images carefully. They're beautiful, Your Majesty. They were traveling in our fastest diplomatic ship with 12 of our best warrior escorts. The ship carried every safety system we could install. It should have been impossible for anything to go wrong. Queen Zara touched the wall and the image changed. Now it showed a star map with a red line tracing a route through space. They were last seen here, she said, pointing to a spot near what humans called the neutral zone. Their ship sent a routine status report. Everything was normal. 6 hours later, they vanished completely. No distress signal. Ben asked. Nothing. One moment they were there, the next moment gone. As if they had never existed. Queen Zara's voice began to shake. Ben had never heard of a Vex showing emotion like this before. Their species was famous for being logical and controlled at all times. I sent our best search teams immediately. Squadron after squadron of our finest warriors. I offered rewards that could buy entire star systems. I had every ship in that region of space searched and questioned. The star map changed again, showing search patterns spreading out from the last known position. For 3 years, my people searched. We found nothing. Not a piece of debris. Not a single clue. The Galactic Council officially declared them dead after 2 years. They told me to accept the loss and move on. Queen Zara turned away from the wall and looked directly at Ben. But I cannot accept it. I am their mother. I can feel in my heart that they still live somewhere. Ben understood now why this mission was so unusual. Your Majesty, why are you asking humans for help? Your empire has resources and technology that far exceed ours. The Queen was quiet for a moment. Because your species does things that we cannot understand. We have heard stories about humans who never give up searching for their own people. Stories of humans who travel across the galaxy to bring home a single lost person. Stories of humans who refuse to accept that someone they care about is gone forever. She gestured toward the star map again. My people are logical. When logic says that someone is dead, we accept it and move on. But humans seem to have something else driving them. Something that makes them keep looking when others would stop. Ben felt the weight of what she was asking. Your Majesty, I have to be honest with you. The area where your daughters disappeared is dangerous territory. The neutral zone is controlled by pirates, smugglers, and worse. If they're still alive after 5 years in that region, they could be anywhere. I know the dangers, Queen Zara said. But I also know that you successfully found and rescued Ambassador Kim's daughter from the pirate worlds last year. I know that you brought home the crew of the lost research ship Horizon after they had been missing for 3 years. I know that humans have a saying about leaving no one behind. Ben was surprised that she knew so much about his missions. Those rescues were different situations, Your Majesty. We had clues to follow, leads to investigate. Then find clues, Queen Zara said, her voice becoming stronger. Find leads. Do what my people cannot do. Think like a human instead of like a Vex. She gestured, and Hex stepped forward carrying a crystal data pad. I am prepared to give you everything, the Queen continued. Complete access to all our search records. Maps of secret trade routes that we have never shared with other species. Technology that could help your search. Resources that most governments only dream of having. Ben took the data pad and looked at it. The amount of information was incredible. I am also prepared to offer you something else, Queen Zara said. If you succeed in bringing my daughters home, the Vex Empire will become humanity's closest ally. We will share our technology, open our trade routes, and stand beside you against any threat. The offer was amazing, but Ben could see that wasn't what really mattered to the Queen. And if I fail? He asked. Queen Zara's compound eyes seemed to focus on something far away. Then I will know that I tried everything possible. I will finally be able to accept that they are gone. Ben looked at the data pad again, then back at the grieving mother standing before him. This wasn't about politics or trade agreements. This was about a parent who couldn't let go of her children. Your Majesty, Ben said finally, I can't promise you that I'll find them alive. I can't even promise that I'll find them at all. But I can promise you this, I will not stop looking until I know for certain what happened to them. For the first time since he had entered the throne room, Queen Zara's shell seemed to brighten slightly. That is all I ask, Captain Torres. That is all any mother could ask. Captain Ben Torres sat in his ship's conference room, staring at the mountain of data Queen Zara had given him. 3 weeks had passed since his meeting on Vex Prime, and he felt like he was trying to solve a puzzle with half the pieces missing. His team gathered around the table, each bringing their own special skills to the search. Lisa Chen, his intelligence officer, was the best at finding patterns in seemingly random information. Tom Rodriguez, their tech specialist, could hack into systems that most people thought were impossible to break. Sarah Kim, their cultural expert, understood how different alien species thought and acted. Okay, let's go through this one more time, Ben said, activating the holographic display above the table. The star map appeared, showing the last known position of the royal ship. The Vex searched this entire region, Lisa said, pointing to the areas marked in red. They used grid patterns, mathematical precision, everything by the book. Tom nodded. Their search was perfect from a logical standpoint. But maybe that was the problem. What do you mean? Sarah asked. Look at how they searched, Tom explained, manipulating the display to show the Vex search patterns. Straight lines, even spacing, predictable routes. If someone was trying to hide something, they would know exactly where the Vex were going to look next. Ben studied the patterns. You think whoever took them knew how the Vex would respond? It's possible, Tom said. The Vex are famous for being logical and predictable. Their military strategies are taught in academies across the galaxy because they're so effective and systematic. Sarah leaned forward. But humans don't think the same way. We use intuition, we follow hunches, we make connections that don't always make logical sense. Exactly, Ben said. Queen Zara asked for human help because we think differently. So let's think differently. Lisa pulled up a new section of data. I've been looking at something interesting. The date when the princesses disappeared coincides with increased activity in the illegal trade networks. What kind of activity? Ben asked. Reports of unusual cargo movements through the neutral zone. Ships that were normally used for carrying minerals or manufactured goods suddenly started advertising exotic labor solutions to mining colonies. Tom's eyes lit up. Exotic labor solutions. That's slave trader talk. Sarah felt sick. You think they were captured for slavery? It makes sense, Ben said, his mind racing. Pirates would normally kill royal prisoners or hold them for ransom. But slavers would see valuable workers, especially Vex. They're strong, intelligent, and rare in the Outer Rim. Lisa continued her analysis. I cross-referenced shipping manifests with the timeline. 3 different merchant fleets reported carrying specialized workers to industrial planets during the weeks after the disappearance. Do we have names? Ben asked. Better than that, Tom said, his fingers flying over his computer. I managed to hack into some of their transaction records. These weren't random pirates. This was an organized operation. The holographic display changed to show 3 different star systems, each highlighted in different colors. Fleet 1 delivered their cargo to the deuterium refineries on Kappa Moon, Lisa explained. Fleet 2 went to the gladiator arenas on Titan 7. Fleet 3 ended up at the research stations in the Omega sector. Ben felt his heart race. 3 fleets, 3 destinations, 3 princesses. We need to be careful here, Sarah warned. If we're wrong about this, we could be walking into a trap. And if we're right, these are dangerous people who won't hesitate to eliminate witnesses. I know, Ben said. But this is the first real lead we've had. We have to follow it. Over the next several days, the team planned their investigation carefully. They couldn't approach these locations as military officers. The slavers would disappear the moment they saw a Navy ship coming. Instead, they would pose as potential customers looking to buy workers for their own operations. Tom created false identities and business records for all of them. Lisa prepared cover stories about needing laborers for a new mining venture. Sarah studied the cultures of each target location to help them blend in. Their first stop was Kappa Moon, a toxic wasteland where massive refineries processed deuterium fuel for starships. The work was dangerous and deadly, which made it perfect for slave operations that didn't care about worker safety. Ben and his team landed at the main spaceport disguised as representatives of Torres Mining Corporation. The air on Kappa Moon was barely breathable, and everyone wore protective gear outside the sealed buildings. They met with a man named Voss who ran one of the largest refinery operations. His office smelled like chemicals and his smile never reached his eyes. Torres Mining, yes, I got your message, Voss said, offering them seats that had seen better days. You're looking for specialty workers? That's right, Ben replied, staying in character. We need people who can handle complex technical operations. We heard you might have some unusual employees. Voss grinned. Depends on what you mean by unusual. I've got workers from a dozen different species. Some of them are quite rare. We're particularly interested in insectoid species, Lisa said carefully. We've heard they're excellent with precision work. Ah, you've heard about my Vex workers then, Voss said proudly. Got 3 of them about 5 years ago. Best investment I ever made. One of them can do the work of 10 humans. Ben's heart pounded, but he kept his expression neutral. Just one. Well, I had 3 originally. But 2 of them got sold to other operations. High demand, you understand. Very high prices. Where did the other 2 go? Tom asked, trying to sound casual. Voss hesitated. That information might cost extra. Ben reached into his jacket and pulled out a credit chip worth more money than most people saw in a year. We're serious buyers. Voss took the chip and ran it through his scanner. His eyes widened when he saw the amount. One went to the arena on Titan 7. Big blue-green female, fantastic in combat. The other one, smaller with a color-changing shell, went to some research facility in Omega sector. And the one you kept? Sarah asked. Hard worker, never complains, handles the most dangerous jobs without any problems. But here's the thing, Voss leaned forward conspiratorially. She keeps asking about her sisters. Says they were traveling together when they got separated. Ben exchanged glances with his team. They had found them. We'd like to see this worker, Ben said. Sorry, no viewing without a purchase agreement, Voss replied. But I can tell you she's in excellent condition. Well fed, properly maintained, all her original parts intact. It took everything Ben had not to punch the man. Instead, he smiled and nodded. We'll need to discuss this with our partners. Where can we reach you? They left Voss's office with confirmed information about all three princesses. Princess Kiva was here on Kappa Moon, working in the deadly refineries. Princess Nira was fighting for her life in gladiator arenas on Titan 7. Princess Vera was being used for research experiments in the Omega sector. Back on their ship, the team began planning the rescue operation. "This is bigger than just finding 3 people," Sarah said. "These slave operations probably have hundreds of victims. Maybe thousands." "I know," Ben replied. "But our mission is to bring the princesses home. We can deal with the larger problem later." "How do we extract them without starting a war?" Tom asked. "These places are heavily guarded." Lisa studied the facility layouts they had gathered. "We need to be smart about this. If we go in with force, they'll kill the prisoners before we can save them." "What if we don't go in with force?" Ben said slowly. "What if we go in as customers?" "You mean actually buy them?" Sarah asked, horrified. "Think about it," Ben continued. "Voss wants to sell. The arena owners want profit. The research station wants funding. What if Torres Mining Corporation became their biggest customer?" Tom caught on quickly. "We buy the princesses legitimately, then disappear with them." "But that means paying these criminals," Lisa protested. "With money that will be traced back to accounts that don't really exist," Ben explained. "Tom can set up everything to collapse the moment we're away safely. These people will lose everything." "It could work," Sarah admitted. "But we'd have to move fast. Once we buy one of them, word will spread through the network. Then we do all 3 at the same time," Ben decided. "We split up, make the purchases simultaneously, and rendezvous at a safe location." Over the next week, they refined their plan. Tom created multiple fake companies with enormous credit lines. Lisa prepared detailed cover stories for each team member. Sarah studied the cultures and customs of each location to help them negotiate effectively. The most dangerous part would be the actual transfers. They would have to take possession of the princesses without revealing their true identities or intentions. If the slavers discovered they were dealing with Galactic Navy officers, the situation could turn deadly very quickly. But Ben was determined to succeed. Queen Zara was counting on them, and more importantly, 3 innocent people were suffering because of these criminals. Humanity's reputation for never abandoning their own was about to be tested on an interstellar scale. As they prepared to split up and begin the rescue operation, Ben looked at his team one final time. "Remember," he said, "we're not just saving 3 people today. We're proving that no one is forgotten, no one is left behind, and no one suffers alone while humans draw breath." The mission to bring the lost princesses home was about to begin. The rescue operation began at exactly 0800 Galactic Standard Time. Ben Torres and his team had synchronized their watches and prepared for the most important mission of their careers. 3 simultaneous purchases across 3 different star systems would either bring the lost princesses home or trap them all in the criminal underworld. Ben himself headed to Kappa Moon to retrieve Princess Kiva. Lisa Chen traveled to Titan 7 for Princess Nira. Tom Rodriguez and Sarah Kim went together to the Omega Sector research facility to find Princess Vera. Each team carried enough fake credits to buy their target and escape quickly. On Kappa Moon, Ben met Voss again at the refinery complex. The air was thick with chemical fumes, and the constant noise of machinery made conversation difficult. "Mr. Torres, welcome back," Voss said with his crooked smile. "Ready to make that purchase?" "Absolutely," Ben replied, carrying a briefcase full of credit chips. "I want to see the worker first, then we can finalize the deal." Voss led him through a maze of pipes and processing equipment to a section marked, High-Risk Operations. Through a thick window, Ben could see workers in protective suits handling dangerous materials. One figure stood out from the others. Princess Kiva moved with precision and grace despite the heavy protective gear. Even after 5 years of forced labor, she maintained the proud bearing of Vex royalty. Ben watched her direct other workers to safety when an alarm sounded, putting their lives before her own efficiency. She's quite something, Voss said admiringly. Never seen anyone handle deuterium processing like that. She's prevented 6 major accidents in the past year alone. Ben felt anger building in his chest, but he forced himself to stay calm. She looks perfect for our operations. Let's make the deal. The transaction took 20 minutes. Ben transferred an enormous sum to Voss's accounts while his target remained unaware of what was happening. According to the paperwork, Princess Kiva now belonged to Torres Mining Corporation. She's all yours, Voss said happily. I'll have her brought to your ship within the hour. Meanwhile, on Titan 7, Lisa faced a different challenge. The Gladiator Arena was a massive entertainment complex where beings fought for the amusement of paying customers. The crowd cheered as 2 warriors battled in the pit below. Lisa met with the arena manager, a scarred alien named Orcs who wore jewelry made from the bones of defeated fighters. You want to buy Nira? Orcs laughed. She's my best fighter. Won 47 matches in a row. The crowd loves her. Name your price, Lisa said firmly. Orcs's expression became serious. She's worth 10 times what most fighters cost. But I might consider selling if the offer is right. Lisa opened her briefcase and placed a stack of credit chips on the table. Orcs's eyes widened as he scanned the amounts. Down in the arena, Princess Nira was preparing for her next fight. She had grown lean and strong during her years of forced combat, but Lisa could see that she still moved with royal dignity. More importantly, Lisa noticed that Nira was protecting weaker fighters from the arena guards. Deal, Orcs said quickly, scooping up the credits. She's yours after tonight's fights. I want her now, Lisa insisted. My schedule doesn't allow for delays. Orcs hesitated, then shrugged. Your loss. Tonight's fight would have been spectacular. In the Omega sector, Tom and Sarah faced the most disturbing situation. The research facility was clean and modern, but the experiments being conducted there were clearly unethical. Dr. Vance, the head researcher, showed them through sterile laboratories where various alien species were being studied. We're conducting vital research into alien physiology, Dr. Vance explained. Your Vex specimen has been particularly valuable for understanding insectoid biology. Sarah felt sick as they passed through the medical wing. In one room, they saw Princess Vera connected to monitoring equipment, her beautiful purple-gold shell now marked with injection sites and surgical scars. What exactly have you been studying? Tom asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Healing capabilities, pain tolerance, regenerative properties, Dr. Vance said casually. Vex physiology is remarkably resilient. This specimen has provided data for dozens of published papers. Tom wanted to destroy the entire facility, but he forced himself to focus on the mission. We need a healthy subject for our own research. She looks damaged. Superficial modifications only, Dr. Vance assured him. Full functionality remains intact. However, she has developed an unusual attachment to the other test subjects. Keeps trying to heal their wounds and comfort them. That confirmed what they already knew. Even after years of torture, Princess Vera maintained her compassion for others. The purchase took longer than expected because Dr. Vance wanted to negotiate ongoing research partnerships. Finally, Tom transferred enough money to buy the entire facility twice over, and Dr. Vance agreed to release Princess Vera immediately. Back on Kappa Moon, Ben waited nervously as guards brought Princess Kiva to his ship. She was still wearing the protective gear from the refinery, but Ben could see her compound eyes studying everything around her with sharp intelligence. You are the new owner, she said in perfect English, her voice carrying the dignity of royalty despite her circumstances. Actually, Ben said gently, removing his fake business identification, I'm Captain Ben Torres of the Galactic Navy. Your mother sent me to bring you home. Princess Kiva went completely still for a moment. Then her legs gave out, and she collapsed to her knees. Mother is alive. Very much alive, and desperate to see you again, Ben said, helping her to stand. "Are you hurt? Do you need medical attention?" "My sisters," Kiva said urgently. "Nira and Vera, they were taken with me. Are they safe?" "My team is retrieving them right now," Ben assured her. "We're going to bring all three of you home." Over the next several hours, all three rescue operations concluded successfully. Lisa arrived with Princess Nira, who was initially suspicious until she saw her older sister. Tom and Sarah brought Princess Vera, who was weak from her medical ordeal but otherwise intact. The reunion of the three sisters was emotional beyond anything Ben had expected. The Vex were supposed to be logical and unemotional, but these three held each other and made sounds that could only be described as crying. "We never stopped believing someone would come," Princess Nira said. "Mother taught us that family never abandons family." "I tried to take care of the other prisoners," Princess Vera added weakly. "There are so many others who need help." "We'll deal with that," Ben promised. "Right now, we need to get you home." The journey back to Vex Prime took 3 days. During that time, Ben learned more about what the princesses had endured. They had been captured by a coordinated network of criminals who specifically targeted high-value individuals for slavery. The operation was much larger than anyone had realized. More importantly, Ben discovered how the princesses had survived. They had protected each other and the other prisoners whenever possible. They had maintained hope by remembering their mother's teachings about duty and compassion. They had refused to let their captors break their spirits. "You could have escaped individually," Ben observed. "Why didn't you try?" "Because we would not leave others behind," Princess Kiva explained. "It is not the Vex way to abandon those who depend on us." Ben realized that humanity wasn't the only species that refused to leave people behind. The Vex had the same values, they just expressed them differently. When they arrived at Vex Prime, Queen Zara was waiting at the landing platform. She had abandoned all royal protocol and stood alone, watching for her daughters to emerge from the ship. The moment the ramp lowered, the three princesses rushed toward their mother. Queen Zara's compound eyes began leaking fluid that Ben realized were tears. The reunion was witnessed by hundreds of Vex, who had never seen their royal family display such emotion. "My daughters," Queen Zara said, her voice breaking. "My precious daughters." The four Vex held each other in a group embrace that lasted for several minutes. When they finally separated, Queen Zara turned to Ben with gratitude shining in her eyes. "Captain Torres," she said formally, "the Vex Empire owes you a debt that can never be repaid." "Your daughters repaid it themselves, Your Majesty," Ben replied. "Their courage and compassion during captivity showed me that our species have more in common than I realized." The rescue had immediate political consequences. Queen Zara addressed the Galactic Council 3 days later, with her daughters standing beside her. She announced that the Vex Empire would work closely with humanity to combat the slave trade networks that had operated freely in the neutral zone. More surprisingly, she declared that the Vex would begin sharing their advanced medical technology with human hospitals. Princess Vera had requested this, saying that healing should know no species boundaries. Princess Nira proposed joint training programs between Vex warriors and human soldiers, combining Vex precision with human adaptability. Princess Kiva suggested cultural exchange programs to help other species understand each other better. The rescue operation grew into something much larger than anyone had imagined. The information gathered during the mission led to coordinated raids that shut down dozens of slave operations and freed thousands of prisoners from dozens of different species. 6 months later, Ben received an invitation to return to Vex Prime for a special ceremony. When he arrived, he found that the Crystal Palace had been modified to include a new wing dedicated to interspecies cooperation. Queen Zara herself performed the ceremony, speaking in front of representatives from across the galaxy. "Captain Torres and his team demonstrated something our species had forgotten," she announced. "They showed us that seeking help is not weakness, but wisdom. They reminded us that different approaches to the same problem can achieve what traditional methods cannot." She gestured, and Princess Kiva stepped forward carrying an ornate crystal pendant. By the ancient laws of our people, Queen Zara continued, I name Benjamin Torres as an honorary member of the royal family, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. Ben was speechless as the pendant was placed around his neck. He was now officially a Vex prince, the first non-Vex in their history to hold royal rank. But the greatest reward came later, during a private dinner with the royal family. As they shared food and stories, Ben realized that the mission had accomplished something beyond just a rescue operation. You know, Princess Vera said thoughtfully, you could have just found us and left. But you stayed to make sure we were truly safe. You could have taken the reward money and forgotten about the other prisoners, Princess Nira added. But you helped free them all. You could have demanded payment for your services, Princess Kiva finished. But you said helping families stay together was payment enough. Queen Zara smiled at Ben with genuine affection. This is why we needed human help. Not because you are stronger or smarter than us, but because you understand something that we had to relearn. Love makes us stronger, not weaker. The lost daughters had come home, and in doing so, they had brought two species together in ways no treaty or trade agreement ever could. Ben Torres had gone looking for 3 missing people and found something much more valuable, proof that compassion transcends species boundaries and that family bonds can overcome any obstacle. The story of the rescue became legend throughout the galaxy, inspiring countless others to never give up hope and never leave anyone behind.